The voice of doubt is telling you that setting boundaries is selfish, that walking away from chaos makes you a bad Christian. Today, we're going to learn how protecting your peace, your God-given peace, is not just an act of self-care, but a profound expression of faith, a sacred duty to the well-being God intends for you. You are about to discover that your peace is a precious commodity, a divine gift that deserves fierce protection, and that true strength often lies not in enduring endless turmoil, but in the wisdom of disengaging from what diminishes your spirit. This journey isn't about becoming hardened or uncaring. It's about becoming whole, about honoring the sacred space within you where God resides, and understanding that true love, both for yourself and for others, sometimes means choosing peace over perpetual conflict. It's time to reclaim your energy, your focus, and your joy, not for selfish reasons, but so you can truly live out the purpose for which you were created, unburdened by the unnecessary weight of toxic relationships. Have you ever felt like your spirit was constantly under siege, relentlessly drained by the demands, the drama, or the disrespect of others? It's a weariness that seeps into your bones, affecting your prayers, your sleep, and even your ability to feel God's presence. This isn't just about feeling tired. It's a symptom of a deeper spiritual erosion, where your precious inner sanctuary, meant for communion with the divine, becomes a battleground. We often mistake endless tolerance for Christian virtue, believing that enduring every slight and every manipulation is a sign of faith. But what if embracing chaos and allowing yourself to be perpetually diminished actually hinders your ability to serve God effectively, to love others authentically? Our hearts are like delicate gardens. If we allow weeds to choke out the good plants, eventually, nothing beautiful can grow. The constant need to justify your existence, to explain your choices, to chase validation from those who refuse to see your worth, is an exhausting cycle that steals your focus from your true purpose. This is not how God designed you to live. He created you for abundance, for peace, for a life where your energy is directed towards building, not constantly patching up holes in relationships that refuse to be whole. If this message is stirring something within your spirit, I invite you to join our growing family here. Take a moment to hit that subscribe button, and then share your thoughts below. What's one boundary you felt God calling you to set? Your wisdom could be the breakthrough someone else needs. One of the greatest obstacles we face in protecting our peace is the deeply ingrained belief that leaving a difficult situation or disengaging from a draining person is a failure of our Christian duty to love. We're taught to turn the other cheek, to suffer long, and we internalize this to mean we must be doormats for every form of disrespect. Consider the story of Michael, a dedicated church elder in his late 50s, who for years carried the weight of his adult son's constant financial demands and emotional blackmail. Michael, a man of profound faith, felt it was his biblical responsibility to always say yes, even when it meant sacrificing his own retirement savings and his wife's peace of mind. He believed that if he stopped bailing out his son, he would be failing as a father and a Christian. This went on for nearly 2 decades, leaving Michael perpetually anxious and resentful, his spiritual life feeling barren. The principle of overcoming this obstacle lies in understanding that true love, God's love, is not enabling, nor is it self-destructive. It's a love that calls for wisdom, for discernment, and sometimes for tough choices that allow all parties the chance to grow, even if it means experiencing the consequences of their actions. Michael finally reached a breaking point during a mission trip where he saw real poverty, realizing he was giving away resources that could truly help others, while his son remained unchanged. He prayed for guidance and slowly, painfully, began to set firm limits, not out of anger, but out of a desperate desire for his son to find his own feet and for his own family to find peace. This wasn't about abandoning his son. It was about loving him enough to stop facilitating his destructive patterns and loving himself enough to protect his spiritual and material resources. Another silent obstacle that shackles us is the unspoken expectation that we must always explain ourselves, justify our decisions, or perform emotional labor for those who refuse to understand. This plays out in countless ways. The friend who constantly calls to dump their problems, but never asks about yours. The relative who criticizes your life choices yet demands your presence. The colleague who takes credit for your work but expects your unwavering support. We invest hours, days, even years trying to make these relationships work, offering explanations, setting gentle boundaries that are immediately trampled, hoping that if we just explain it one more time, they will finally get it. But here's a surprising revelation. You owe no one an explanation for protecting your peace. Your inner tranquility, your mental and emotional well-being are not up for debate or negotiation. When you disengage, when you walk away early and silently from disrespect, it's not an act of rudeness. It's an act of profound self-respect and spiritual wisdom. It's a recognition that your energy is finite, and it must be stewarded for God's purposes, not squandered on endless, fruitless arguments. Consider the ancient wisdom of Proverbs 26:17, which warns against meddling in disputes that are not your own, comparing it to grabbing a dog by the ears. Sometimes the most powerful communication is no communication at all. When someone thrives on drama, your silence becomes their kryptonite. It denies them the fuel they crave. Practically, this means learning to end conversations when they turn toxic, not responding to provocative messages, and simply choosing to be unavailable to those who consistently bring chaos into your life. It's not about being cold. It's about being strategic with your precious peace. The true spiritual turning point in this journey arrives when you grasp a central biblical truth. Your life, your spirit, your very being is a sacred vessel, a temple of the Holy Spirit. This isn't just a poetic phrase. It's a profound declaration of your intrinsic value and your responsibility to steward that value. 1 Corinthians 6:19-20 reminds us, "Do you not know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own. You were bought at a price. Therefore, honor God with your bodies." This extends beyond just physical care. It encompasses the emotional, mental, and spiritual environment you allow to reside within you. If you are constantly allowing chaos, disrespect, and emotional exploitation into your inner sanctuary, how can the Holy Spirit truly dwell and work within you unhindered? The transformation begins when you shift your mindset from, "How can I fix this person?" to, "How can I protect the sacred space God has given me?" It's an internal revolution where you begin to see every boundary as a spiritual guardrail, protecting your connection with God and your capacity to serve Him. This truth liberates you from the false guilt that has held you captive. It replaces the notion of selfishness with stewardship and abandonment with discernment. You are not responsible for another person's emotional state or their choices, but you are absolutely responsible for the state of your own heart and spirit. This realization is the key that unlocks the prison door of obligation and opens the path to true inner peace. With this new perspective, the world begins to look different. You start to see relationships not just as social constructs, but as energetic exchanges, and you become acutely aware of what fills you and what drains you. This isn't about being transactional. It's about being discerning. Consider the powerful testimony of a woman named Elena, a vibrant artist in her late 40s, who for years felt suffocated by a circle of friends who constantly competed for attention, gossiped, and belittled her creative pursuits. She endured it because she believed that's just how friends are and feared being alone. However, after a period of intense prayer and reflection, she began to see her life as a canvas, and these relationships were painting over her true colors. Elena started gently but firmly, removing herself from situations that drained her. She stopped attending gatherings where she felt diminished, limited her phone calls with those who only spoke negatively, and began to invest her time in new, healthier connections. The initial fear of loneliness was quickly replaced by a profound sense of liberation and a burst of creative energy she hadn't felt in years. Her art flourished, and she found herself drawn to individuals who genuinely celebrated her, offering encouragement and reciprocal support. This expansive application of boundaries means recognizing that your time, your energy, and your emotional availability are precious resources, and you have the divine right to allocate them wisely. It's about choosing to build relationships that foster mutual growth and respect, rather than clinging to those that perpetually leave you feeling depleted and unseen. It's about creating space for the connections that truly matter, the ones that reflect God's design for healthy, reciprocal love. So, how do we put this divine disengagement into practice? The steps are clear, though not always easy, requiring courage and conviction. First, cultivate the art of walking away early and silently from any sign of disrespect. This isn't about being rude, it's about being wise, recognizing when a situation is turning toxic and removing yourself before it consumes you. Second, master intentional silence as a powerful boundary. When confronted with drama or provocation, simply do not engage. Your silence denies the aggressor the reaction they crave and allows you to regain control of your emotional space. Third, bravely cut off energy drainers and those who belittle your worth without guilt or lengthy explanations. Remember, your peace is not up for negotiation. Fourth, stop chasing attention or validation from those who consistently ignore or don't reciprocate your efforts. Your worth is inherent, not dependent on their approval. Fifth, block repeated liars and individuals who consistently disrespect your time. These behaviors indicate a fundamental lack of integrity and care, and you are not obligated to subject yourself to them. Finally, bravely end relationships that no longer foster your growth and remove daily focus drainers. This creates crucial space for clarity, purpose, and the healthier, reciprocal connections God intends for you. Envision a life where your days are filled with genuine connections, where your energy is channeled into your passions and purpose, and where your peace is a constant, unshakable presence. This is the future God has for you. This journey of divine disengagement is not a path of isolation, but a courageous leap towards profound connection. Connection with your true self, with healthy relationships, and most importantly, with God's unwavering peace. You are not meant to be a doormat for the chaos of others, but a beacon of His light, and that light shines brightest when your vessel is whole and unburdened. Imagine waking up each day with a renewed sense of purpose, your spirit unencumbered by the emotional weight you once carried, your heart open to the genuine, uplifting connections God desires for you. This isn't just about surviving, it's about thriving, about building a life of strength, freedom, and authentic joy. It's about choosing oneself, not out of selfishness, but out of a profound understanding of the sacredness of your own being, and realizing that by honoring your peace, you are honoring the very Spirit of God within you. If this message has resonated with your soul, if it has ignited a spark of hope and courage within you, I pray that you embrace this sacred journey. And if you have a story of how God helped you reclaim your peace, we'd be honored to hear it in the comments. Your testimony is a beacon of hope for others walking this path. Share your wisdom, and let's build a community rooted in divine peace.